Continue with the operation. You may fire when ready.
Yoda's Kane, Anakin has gone insane. Logan 6, Corporal Hicks, the Jem'Hadar need a fix. Ripley, NPC, Daredevil, he cannot see. Bumblebee, K9, the Doctor, and Klingon wine. Old Bob Sandworm, stories that'll twist and turn. Bow, toss, scimitar, death of Tasha Yar. Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers, Stormtroopers and Clone Wars, James Holden, Tweaky, John Koenig and Ziggy.
We talk about the series. You can join us live by picking up your phone now. We talk about the series. We're coming to you on your streaming services now. We talk about the series. Comics, books, and games, we go beyond the show now. We talk about the series. Come and join us as we sit and chat and we go on and on and
on. Everybody, welcome to the podcast. It is Monday, March 2nd, 2026. Welcome to episode 675. I'm your most excellent host, Uncle Jim. Welcome to the show. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight, but before we get into that, I want to go around and introduce my awesome Trexperts. We're going to start off with V. V is down in Virginia. How you doing tonight,
Doing all
V?
right. I am very, very excited to be here tonight.
I can see you're dressed for
Oh
the
yes,
occasion.
I am like all, lower decked out.
We also have with us Eric. Eric is out in Portland. How you doing, Eric?
I am doing great. I also am extremely excited, and I found my Ritos t-shirt. Yay! Actually, I shouldn't say found. I literally wear it every single week, so.
You knew where it was. It wasn't.
I knew right where it was.
Sticking with the Portland theme, we have our very own toy guy, Paul. How you doing tonight, Paul?
I'm doing well, Uncle Jim. I have no tchotchkes or props at all. Sorry, I just have Krog tied up on the floor over here in case things get ugly. But I'm sure he'll be, cooperative. But excited to have a Lower Decks luminary in our midst here today. So it's very exciting. Very exciting.
And sticking with our Portland theme, we have our very own miracle worker himself, David. How you doing tonight, David?
I'm doing pretty good. As you can see, I only have turtles in the background, so I don't have too many props, but I'm very excited to talk with Gabrielle Ruiz.
Yes.
You do have a brand new microphone and a new headset, and it sounds great, so that's awesome.
Thanks.
And that's right, from Portland, we have a very own Charles. Charles is out in Las Vegas. How you doing tonight, Charles?
Doing good. Can't go to the outside studio because the palm tree is swaying. But I do have my LD Lower Decks t-shirt. Gotta go with the theme tonight.
Well, the palm trees might be swaying in Vegas, but the snowflakes are flying here in Vermont, so I guess we're equal tonight, huh? So anyways, we have a really great show planned. As you can see with us right now live in the studio, we have Gabrielle Ruiz, and Star Trek fans, we know her as T'Lyn from Star Trek Lower Decks. She's in the house. But she also played Valencia Perez in the musical comedy drama series, My Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and she can be seen on series such as Law and Order, Special Victims Unit, Orange is the New Black, Alone Together, and Modern Family. Welcome to the podcast.
Greetings. Thank you for having me.
I wanted to ask you the same question I ask everyone we have. What did you think about our theme song?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask me where I am locally.
No.
I love the song. I love all the videos. I love the compilation, all the dancing. It's very, very good.
It's a lot of fun.
I just bopped along the whole time. I also appreciate it not being trimmed down. I mean, how long is it? A minute?
Yeah,
might be more. I think
might be
it's like
more.
it might be like a minute 10. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
You
It's
know,
very
why not take the long format when you've
right.
got the
Take
time?
the long format. Just take it. It's 2026.
Just
Do
own
it.
it.
We're trying to fill time however we can, you know. So
Well,
Yeah.
also, since I,
maybe next week, next season, 2 minutes.
yeah,
You know,
since I joined the podcast last May, the end of last May, so they added me on to the intro. If you saw me just sort of appear. Yeah,
Oh, I
okay,
saw
good.
you. You
Yep,
just
I
pop
did.
up right there. Very lower
Yes, yep.
tactile.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like how T'Lyn shows up. I mean, it's a little bit of, bringing
Mm-hmm.
that up. Just like pops up,
It's in there.
pops in
And
there.
we do have a little clip though that David put together because like Lynn's greatest moment, I guess we want to call it. And David, you wanna roll that clip to get everybody in the mood?
T'Lyn, I hate to say it, but your previous crew were a bunch of fucking idiots. You're one of the most brutally efficient, distant people I have ever met.
Really?
What was your captain's name?
Soko.
Captain Sokol. What, you saved their lives so he kicks you off the ship? Where's the logic in that, huh?
It does seem like a disproportionate response to a minor character flaw.
There is no character flaw. Can you imagine anything more Vulcan than Bendai syndrome? Hello? I mean, Spock's dad had it. He was Vulcan as a motherfucker.
I suppose by the transit of property, I too must be Vulcan as a motherfucker.
Yeah, logic, bitch.
Thank you, Mariner. I believe I needed to hear that.
Yeah.
Man, I just love Lynn. That might be a great way to start off the show.
History is made.
Iconic.
Yeah.
Iconic.
But,
I have to say, at conventions, I do brag to everybody that comes to my table that I am the only person on the floor that will write on my signature, "Stay Vulcan as a motherfucker." Love, Gabrielle Ruiz.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I love it. But before we dive into Star Trek, though, I wanted to ask you about Orange is the New Black.
Yeah.
Um, I love that show, and I love Kate Mulgrew on the show. And I just wanted to ask you, what it was like, being on that show and how that came about.
What a win. It was the streaming, takeover, the show that really put streaming on the map. And lo and behold, I was living in Queens, New York, and that's where they shoot. And so for me, I also had like a 10-year Broadway career. Went to New York for that. That was the initial launch of my career outside, leaving college and pursuing entertainment. And so I lived in New York for a very long time. And when that was becoming a thing, television, the world of television kind of opened up in a different way than it had when I moved in New York City. It wasn't just so Hollywood, only in LA. So like tax breaks were happening in New York and just more opportunity. So more than just Law and Order, which is a huge, stamp on everyone's, like a huge badge on everyone's lapel to do Law and Order. But when it came to Orange is the New Black, especially for like diverse people like Latinos like me, it was such a hot show and so much opportunity with the amount of people because it's a jail. There's like a lot of people coming in and out, a really great revolving door opportunity. So I remember telling my manager I was excited to start pursuing more television, and that was one of my biggest bites and breaks in New York City. And that's when I knew, I was like, I really want to do TV. I really want to start pursuing. Love musical theater, love Broadway. I'm so honored to be a veteran of that very, very hard schedule and rigorous schedule. But that was a wonderful taste because I get to my dressing room and they're telling me where I'm at and how I'm, what my call time is and how long I might be there. And then she's like, okay, would you like any breakfast? And I'm like, oh, I brought a bagel. I'm good. I had my coffee. And she's like, okay, well, if you need anything. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, well, if you need any, I was like, food? And she said, yeah. And I said, there's free food here? And she said, yeah. And I said, what do you mean? Because on Broadway, I was an understudy. So I understudied 3 roles in a show. So I was in rehearsal from noon to 6, and then show is 8 to 10. One wonderful, wonderful job. Not complaining. However, on television, your knee hurts, someone's there with ibuprofen. You have a hunger pain? There's Crafties. There's like a whole buffet Nirvana in another wing of the building that you're in. So I'll never forget that. I was like, there's free food here? Done. Sold. I can live here. This is amazing. And then the last thing I'll say about Orange, other than it was an honor to do, of course, I had a manicure, like a dum-dum. I walked into Orange is the New Black with a gel manicure,
Oh, no.
ladies. And the wardrobe lady looked at me. She's like, you're going to have to scrape that off. You're in jail today.
Oops.
They're like peeling my nail bed off. Like, yeah, no problem. I'm not a problem today. And I'm like peeling it off. Like, of course. What a dummy. Walked in with gel manicure. I sang on that show. And I sang in line to the bathroom, and I remember them telling us to tone down our talented voice, like make it rough and tough, and like we're, just singing to this reggaeton song. And it was just such a cool day. I was there for one day, and I knew that like pursuing television was it after this show. It's a brag, that's for sure.
So did they film that in a real jail? Because I used to work in a jail and it looked pretty authentic to me.
In the scene that I was in, I would assume exteriors are a yes, but interiors are all mostly in a studio. And so I was at Kaufman Studios in Astoria, Queens, like a 10-minute walk from my apartment. So that was wonderful. On Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, it's a little bit of a tangent, we had a few scenes in a jail, and we had exteriors, and we had to go get, like me and two other actors had to walk across the street to the entrance and pick up our star of the show and put her in the car. And at that point of the day at the facility, all the people that were there, all the convicts were there, and they were like having a recreational morning. So they were watching us the whole time. And after they said cut the first time, they all cheered. I'll never forget that. They were like, yeah. And we only did the take 2 times. And so they had to be quiet again. And like the nerves out of me was like, I don't know why I was so nervous, but I wasn't nervous anymore. And then we did it one more time. And it was really like no lines, no drama. We just go and walk. We pick her up, and then she comes in the car, close the door, cut. But I'll never forget, after the second take, someone out of the blue just said, that was better.
That's awesome.
I tell you what. Yeah.
That was better.
That's
Oh, that's
fantastic.
too funny.
Yeah.
That's too funny. Well,
Good
you
jail
know,
time. Good jail TV time.
I think V
Oh man.
has been looking forward to talking to you for a long
Mhm.
time. She was
Here
so
I am.
excited when I was able to get in touch with you and schedule you for the show. So I think I'm going to let V jump in because she is just thrilled to death to talk to you. V,
Yeah.
the
Yay.
stage is
Well,
yours.
Gabrielle knows me or met me as Victoria. I just go by V on the show. So that was Star Trek
That's me.
New Jersey last September. And you
Yes,
do?
I
No
remember.
way. Oh my gosh. I thought you've met so many people. David, can you put up the pictures? Because like this is my favorite, this selfie that we did.
Yep.
We're doing,
I
yeah,
remember. Always looking fabulous. V.
that was. And then the next one is the, next one, David. There we go.
Yeah, see? Dave Vulcan
Yes,
as a motherfucker.
yeah.
See, it's on there.
Which there's a story about that. And then last one, you can see that I am truly a Lower Decks fan because
Oh my goodness.
that's
I'm
I go through, that's my third Star Trek themed license plate. But that's the one that I have now. So I had to show you.
Anyone that's not a Trekkie, that's definitely a
Well,
conversation starter. They're like, is
well,
it Deck or
mhm.
is it?
Well, actually, I was getting my car inspected today, and this guy who was a total he was not a character, he was a jerk. Anyway, he said, "Oh, were you in the Navy?" And it's like, "No, why?" I said, "Because of your license plate."
Yeah.
It's like, "Yeah, sure." I swabbed the decks, matey. Oh my God. So no, because Star Trek New Jersey was my first big con. Well, I went to Galaxy Con, but this was the one purely Star Trek. And it was a big deal for me because I'm in Virginia, that was in New Jersey. I had a plan going on the train, getting the hotel, navigating everything. It was tremendously fun, and you made it so much fun because you
Okay.
are a hoot. But I was unsure when I approached you and wanted you to sign the picture, if I didn't know if I should ask you if you would sign the Vulcan as a motherfucker. And I think I was a little bit hesitant, and you were, I'm trying to remember exactly what you said, but you said, oh, well,
Well, I give people
oh,
options. I
that's,
give people options. I don't want to scare
yeah,
people away.
because,
But at the same time, like, you know what you're walking into. It's lower
yeah,
decks.
well,
Come
I
on.
wasn't sure because, my first time in a big place like that. And you said you thought that I was going to ask you to sign my boobs. So, yeah,
That I don't
yeah, I
remember,
do
but I
because it
believe
was
you.
like, okay, that, anyway, that was just so funny. Um, Next time I go to a Star Trek convention, I'm going to prepare myself and actually read people's backgrounds, their IMDb's and all that. But that trivia contest that we played, because we were paired up, that was
Yes.
so much fun. And
Yes. Derek Maggie put that
mhm,
on. Cool Water
yep.
Productions. Good job.
And but I learned, that's where I learned that you had been on Broadway for 10 years. So you are the second
I
Broadway
have.
star that I have met. The first one was Betty Buckley 8 years ago. So, because my favorite
Cool.
musical is 1776, because it just reasons. Anyway, so you got your degree at Oklahoma City University in dance. So you are first and
I
foremost a
did.
dancer. So that is fantastic. What is your,
Thank you.
because I did competitive ballroom dancing 100 years ago. So,
I feel like it's
oh
100
no,
years for me too.
yeah, no, more like 50. No.
I feel like the 100 years has
Uh-huh,
just
okay.
begun.
Yeah, so what is your favorite style of dance?
Definitely
Mm-hmm.
partnering. I do love to partner, but it's kind of hard. This is gonna sound extremely arrogant, but I'm T'Lyn.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. This is a safe place. But I focused in musical theater, ballet,
Mm-hmm.
tap, and jazz. So like the musical theater as the umbrella, and all three evenly distributed in our curriculum at school, and I was good at all of them. I don't have like major extension. My leg never has ever met my leg has never
Mm-hmm.
reached to my ear. I only had my splits for the 4 years I was in college. But as a good performer, with musicality, with épaulement, as we say, um, I have always loved dance. I was always good at dance. It came naturally to me. Um, and I went to school for dance because I honestly, back in 2003, when I graduated from high school, I didn't even really know musical theater was a degree in colleges. There was no, back in my day, Shani, where there was no YouTube and exposure. Wi-Fi was, I mean, what was, the internet was kind of going at that point. But the amount of like seeing the world that was closer to us, like not on a global sense, but like on a
Mm-hmm.
social sense, there was not that happening yet. And so I just told my teachers I wanted to do that. And luckily, the school that I went to was a musical theater focused dance school. So they bred a lot of ensemble dancers, ensemble members of Broadway, as well as Rockettes.
Wow.
And I'm very
Mm-hmm.
grateful for it. I learned there that what we do is show business, not show
Mm-hmm.
begging.
Yeah. So do you have a favorite role that you did on Broadway? Is there one that just is that too? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I do. I think my dad introduced the show to me when I didn't know about like what musical theater was, what Broadway really could be as a job. It was a
Oh
chorus
wow.
line. Deanna
Mm-hmm.
Morales, the only Latina in the
Mm-hmm.
show, and I memorized Priscilla Lopez's character and her lyrics and her. I just remember memorizing that cassette tape in the third row of my Suburban, with the little headphones on, and I just wrote everything down and memorized that entire like
Mm-hmm.
soundtrack, I guess. And I was able to do that job right out of college. I did the first national Broadway
Wow.
tour, and it was an absolute honor. I
That's
mean, kind of like, those bucket lists as a career, they happen to me every 10 years, like a wow moment like that, like Lower Decks, which
mm-hmm.
we'll get to. But A Chorus Line was very special, and I was able to perform alongside Priscilla Lopez in my Broadway debut in the Heights. So it came really full circle. She signed my sneakers. Thank you, Paul. She signed my sneakers, and the sneakers are a big deal for Deanna Morales, that character. And I'm so honored to do that role. It's all about dancers. Deanna Morales, the character, sings "What I Did for Love," that
Oh, yeah.
iconic song that is such a anthem for
Mm-hmm.
everybody and anybody, not just dancers. So that's the
Oh,
answer.
that's wonderful. Yeah,
Keep
yeah.
going.
And then that, because even though I haven't seen it, I need to watch it, but you get into Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and you've got singing and dancing in that as well. But there was
Mhm.
a certain somebody that recommended you for that role. And the
Yes.
only,
Lin-Manuel
how,
Miranda. Yes, I
that
did.
is, wow.
I did In the Heights. He hired me for In the Heights. I replaced one of the first replacements on the show. But I mean, I wasn't there when he recommended me, but Rachel Bloom, who created Crazy Ex, told me later that they reached out to him and he gave like a very, very short list for Valencia.
Wow.
And I'm so grateful
Yeah.
that he did. And he's so
Mm-hmm.
happy for me. And that's all like when Hamilton was exploding, Crazy X was happening. And so for the little that I saw him, I was able to go to the Tony Awards party. I don't know how I got into that party. Maybe because I'm an alum of In the Heights before the whole Hamilton thing. But he like hugged me, was like, "You're doing it, Crazy X!" Like I just remember him, he was so
Oh,
happy
that's
for me, and I was like,
wonderful.
"You're so busy. How did you know?"
No, that's,
And I booked it. That's gente for you.
yeah,
That's
because
family forever,
when
ever and
Hamilton
ever.
came out, that was a boost for where I worked for a big 18th century living history museum. And
Yeah, I'm
people
sure.
were saying, "Oh, is this the room where it happened? Is this the room where it happened?" And it's like,
Yep.
no, it wasn't. And I had to explain he was never actually here. Hamilton wasn't, but still,
Mm.
we thank him for bringing attention
Yeah.
to history. Um,
Yes.
Now on to Lynn, because that's a big switch. Because here you are using your whole body and your musicality, your physicality, and now you've just got the voice. Was that really?
Hmm.
Because I know you told me at the convention. Because you're just in a booth by yourself, so you don't interact with
Yes.
anybody else. So when they put that all
Hmm.
together, even though it looks like you're talking with Tawny Newsome, you're not. So that, yeah.
That is
So
correct.
that's. Did you ever get to meet any of them? Hopefully.
The first time so Eugene has guested on Crazy
Oh,
Ex-Girlfriend
okay.
from before, so I don't think I was in
Mm-hmm.
scenes with him, but we saw each other at parties for the show or at red carpets, and we were acquainted. So I think I saw him for one press junket that I was invited to for
Mm-hmm.
Lower Decks, and our times were like back to back, so I got to say
Mm-hmm.
hello then. But I didn't really meet Tawny until Star Trek Cruise 2024.
Okay. Yeah.
And I feel like the show had been on, and T'Lyn had just really blossomed at that
Mm-hmm.
point in the series, despite how long it takes for what I record, for it
Mm-hmm.
to air on Paramount Plus. But we had not met for a very long time. So it was just very like a second relationship because I'm talking to her
Mm-hmm.
character in the script a lot. I read what's happening that nobody's seen. I watch the show, but then to meet Tawny, it's just a completely new chapter for us.
Yeah. Because
So
that scene that we aired with the from it's a hard word to say empathological fallacies. Oh, if I said it. Yeah, I
another fucking episode.
know. But it was really, and I don't know if you're probably aware how much T'Lyn and I guess all Vulcans really resonate with the neurodivergent community. And is that something you have people have come up and told you? Like,
Crazy Ex-Girlfriend really nods and gives a lot of love and hugs to mental health as well. Recognizes that. So yes, I'm honored to be able to represent and help different communities feel seen. That's for sure. And also just listen to everyone's stories. It's so important, even if I have not experienced a specific aspect of someone's personality, that if I don't match that personality myself, I learned so much about
Yeah.
neurodivergent. I learned so much about BPD with Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. So
Yeah.
it's an honor. It's an honor to represent that, but also just paint this beautiful this beautiful species of Vulcan that has like just such an air and such an arrogance, for being so like just so in a different realm,
Oh yeah.
and I feel like anyone with
Yep.
any of that like has that feeling they're of a
Yeah.
different realm, and that is just so well represented with the Vulcan species, and I love hearing
Yeah.
everyone's stories. That's
Because
for sure.
we actually got to interview Adam Nimoy a couple weeks ago, which was, phew, I
Oh,
know
how
my
cool.
head is still, but he had said, I know, totally crushing on him, but shh, don't tell him. That he had said that Spock was the ultimate outsider, which he really was. But when T'Lyn is explaining to Mariner why she is here, because I'm not Vulcan enough, and then how the captain said because she had used her feelings to save her crewmates, words like insubordinate, unhinged, recklessly emotional, damaged, and illogical. That resonated, I know, with a lot of people. But then I love how Mariner brings her back and says, tells her about Sarek, and so that's when T'Lyn says that famous line. And I had forgotten that afterwards that Mariner says, "Logic, bitch," and I love that, just that little bit, and where she accepts her. But one last question: you have two beautiful daughters, and
I do.
because I was, the internet shows pretty much everything, but they're just beautiful. But there's a scene where when T'Lyn calms Mariner with this little, she thought it was a Vulcan grip. Is that something that because I raised three kids, been there, done that. But did you ever wish that you could use that on your kids when they needed to calm down if they had, wouldn't that be something great?
Honestly, I'm so glad you brought it up because I have done it and it
What? No,
works.
okay.
No, I'm kidding. I haven't do it. No, I can't believe I haven't thought about it, to be honest. I think they would just be so stunned, like, what are you doing? You know? Thank you for bringing that up. I will try it and get back to you.
That's wonderful. Well, again, just thank you for making my experience at that conference so much fun, because it was
Oh, my
just the
pleasure.
best, and I'm still thinking about it. And so you and Adam Nimoy right up there with my top favorites. So all right, who wants to be next? I've blabbed
You're
enough.
welcome.
So
I think Eric has some questions, right, Eric?
I sure do. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm always pleasured to talk to people who I consider triple threats with the acting, the
Thank
dancing, the
you.
singing. Like you
I
seriously have it
concur.
all. Yeah. But it turns out that you may have a fourth quadruple threatedness. I learned that you had this old podcast, not really that old, but a few years ago you did that podcast with your friend, and I
Yes.
wondered
What
if
are
you wanted
friends
to just
for? Mhm.
yeah. It looks really interesting. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, but
Thank
do you want to
you.
tell us a little bit about it?
Sure, I would love to. Pallavi Sastry is one of my best friends, and we decided to focus and shine light on platonic love. We don't think it's talked about enough. And simply said, platonic love can be romantic. You can spend time, you can make time and, dive deep into the relationships that are not sexual, whether it be male or female. And we both struggled, I would say, like in our 20s with not making time for friends. And it showed 10 years later. You reap what you sow. And there was like some loss in that sense of not making time, because as a show business person, that is always pitching themselves and is always auditioning, that's actually the real job. I get pretty absorbed. I get pretty obsessive with that part, the sales of what I do. My family comes from a sales a line of salespeople, so I find a lot of joy in that part of my career, to the point where in New York City, while I was there, I never made time for friends. And then it really wears on you, and you need those people, and you do make time. You do become the people you surround yourself with, like the top 5 specifically, and how much of an effort that is. So we just took a lot of time with that conversation. We had a lot of guests that talk about their either a book that they've written, or they have their own podcast, or we bring on friends. But we also had our own personal updates that I just lost a friend. And this is how it went down, and a lot of feedback from our listeners of like they've related as well, and how you deal with that. We loved it. We loved it so much.
It sounds really interesting and right
Thank
up my
you.
alley, the type of thing I'd listen to. So definitely look forward to that. So you say that you've kind of got this constant sales thing, and so it seems like you probably have a very active mind, very busy, kind of like always something going on. Are you able to take time for yourself? Do you have things that you like to do that, when when Gabrielle is
I
just
laugh.
like,
I'm laughing
yeah,
because you're asking me like we just my husband and I relocated to the East Coast about 2 years ago. So we were, rebuilding a community where we live, and we met this other family that has kids the same age. So I forced my husband to come over because they invited us over to lunch. I was like, let's make friends. And the husband said, do you guys have any hobbies? And both my husband were like, do you have any hobbies? I don't know. Do you have any? I was like, do I have any hobbies? And to this day, I don't have an answer for that, guys.
Interesting. Yeah. Has that always been true, like ever since you were a kid and everything, or? Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I was always in the dance studio.
Yeah. There you go.
I was
Just
either
working it.
that and then doing homework from like 9 to 11 p.m. and then getting up and going to school.
Yeah.
I'm and a friend of mine was like, well, you do arts. It's a hobby. I was like, no, it's not. I have
That's
to
a
make
job.
money doing it. Like,
Yeah.
and I love it. I'm very grateful that I can like put the subjective side aside sometimes and be able to be objective in arts entertainment. But no, it's not a hobby. It
Okay.
can't fail. I can't move on.
Yeah, exactly. You can't like set it down and leave it alone for a month and come back to it when you're ready.
Yeah. So I would like to think the Peloton is a hobby, but it's not. And
Yes.
then
No, it's a way of life.
I do not knit. I do not crochet. I don't.
All right, all right. Well, that's fair. Everybody's
That's the
got their own
honest
thing going
truth.
on. One other thing that I did, and this will be my last question, I want to give other people a chance to talk to you, but one other thing I read about you that sounds pretty cool is that you are still involved in the town where you came from and producing some like local theater projects and stuff. Is that
I
true?
do. I stay connected in South Texas when it comes to giving back, period. Like I said early, that there was just no exposure to musical theater in a way that there can be now, where everyone has the world in the palm of their hand. But still, like, I'm from there, and so I should let kids know that not that you can do this too, but you can try, period. You can try different things. But then if I help ignite that spark that somebody has in that 1 second on stage while they're partnering with somebody else in, you're the one that I want from Greece, that is everything. You can be a part of their story. It's so cool. And I want to always be a part of that and make an effect in that way. I do career coaching for teens and college students that are pursuing this professionally. And that involves the parents as well, because they are the parent momager, and they are just also like, what are we doing? And they really want to do this now. And so I find there's a lot of satisfaction in that, and helping families pursue show business, because it feels like there's no control in the outcome. that there's a lot of control in your investment, and it's not
Yeah.
just financially. Yeah.
Yeah, and I imagine you seem like the type of person who understands that making a good society is built on
Yeah,
paying it forward, training the
absolutely.
young, education, all of that sort of like base fundamental stuff. So
Yeah, I'm an advocate for arts education because two people did that for me, and that
yeah,
two people made a huge difference, and I want to be that for someone else.
yeah, yeah. I definitely would have been in much more trouble than I got into in high school had I not had the arts.
And I was
Think,
a late bloomer. I
yeah.
figured out musical theater was a thing and a paycheck like at 20. So
Hmm.
some kids are starting at,
Mm,
5,
I know, right?
singing Susical or something.
Yeah.
So it's okay. It's okay to start when you start,
Mhm.
you know.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you for letting me chat with you. It was a real pleasure, Jim. Who should we pass the torch to here?
Well, I think that Charles wanted to go after you, so we'll pass the microphone over to Charles. Take it away, Charles.
Oh, thank you, Eric. Don't have too many
Hi.
questions, but I'm curious. What was your
Curious.
experience or I was curious about what your experience or knowledge was of Star Trek before you got the role.
That's a good question. I'm sure this answer is all over the board, like across the board on everyone's experience. Um, so let's go back to sales with my family. My grandfather had a produce business in Texas and he grew crops, sold them to Walmart. And so the harvest season was always like end of July through October. And my dad worked for his father. And so he would be living in West Texas with my grandfather for like 3 to 4 months at a time. Therefore, my mom, my sister, and I would bunker in their main room to like sleep together. I would sleep on the bed. My sister would sleep on the floor on like the extra mattress. So we would just like kind of like have these sleepovers. And I say all this because my mom still to this day watches Star Trek every night to go to sleep. And I saw it then. It was TNG most of the time. And I've known Star Trek in that way. It's relaxing, it's pattern, it's routine, and it's just so good. It's like when Geordi starts talking, like that's when I start nodding off, with all of his exposition and all of his information on what the issue is, technically. And so, like, I know Star Trek in that way. And my mom's a Trekkie. She knows everyone and everything. And I've always had more of a Trek love than Star Wars in that way because I guess I grew up with it. But I did try Star Wars and it's a pass. And when I found out, because voiceover work is like very code. They don't tell you exactly what you're auditioning for in
Mm-hmm.
the most severe sense when you are comparing it to like live theater or television, etc. Because I guess it's the game world too, voiceover sometimes, so they really protect the information that's coming out. So sometimes the lines that you get to audition aren't even the show. They first want to hear your voice and they want to translate it to protect their show. So some of the Star Trek information was not there in the beginning when I auditioned for it. But then once I figured it out, I was like, oh my God. I told my husband, I was like, it's Star Trek. Oh, and it's Mike McMahon. What's happening? And it was just such like, don't freak out, Gabrielle. This is kind of a big deal. And I'll end with this, Charles, that like the first time being on lower decks was like an ensign that gets killed immediately, like after one line. T'Lyn grew, and that role was like my third role in the show. And the first time I saw Gabrielle Ruiz in Star Trek font was cry worthy, tear worthy. Calling my mom that I became a Vulcan over the phone. I don't tell my parents about auditions anymore because they ask too many follow-up questions. I can't take it anymore about my failures. But when I get one like this, that was very special. So it was
I'm
wonderful.
curious when you did the episode, I think it was Lower Decks.
Mhm.
Did they plan on bringing you back the following season, or was it because the fans love the character they choose to bring her back?
Based on what Mike says, and for some of the time that he and I have had a personal conversation about it, it was kind of a little bit of both. It was hoping the fans would love T'Lyn and respond to her from that first initial episode, Wedge Dooge. And so it was kind of queued up in a sense, like we don't want to make too many empty promises, but to the writers and to the all the creation of that goes behind animation. So we had to wait. So I feel like I don't want to quote Mike incorrectly because I'm really not in charge. That T'Lyn kind of shows up late in the next season because we were waiting to see how much of how positive or negative, but it luckily was positive that T'Lyn was loved so much.
Well, I am so
Very
happy. I am so happy. I was one of those. It's like, okay, this character needs to come to Lower Decks. This character's a Lower Decks. She would fit in.
She would fit in just well. And I just
But
love her struggle. I love her fast, logical decision on how much she does not belong there. That's the beginning of her journey at Enterprise, like at Starfleet. So I loved every moment of it. And
are you keeping up with current shows?
not technically, no. I look forward to watching Academy. I do.
I won't spoil, but with your background, you're gonna like the latest episode.
Does T'Lyn show up? Did they not tell me they put her in live action?
No, T'Lyn didn't show up, but I think your background, I think you're gonna like it.
Oh, I look forward to it. Thank you, Charles.
Okay, Jim, who shall we pass it on to next?
Well, David had
Thank you.
a question that he wanted to ask
Thanks,
as
Charles.
well.
Yeah, so thanks for being on the show, by the way. I just have one quick question. So we kind of already went over your voice acting and everything, but I just have one quick question about it. So T'Lyn was a very serious character. Do you ever catch yourself talking like her in real life?
I have to say, while we were recording, I do say curious now a lot. It is now instilled in it's now like ingrained in my vocabulary. Like I will send an email, curious if, or in a text, I'm curious. Yes. So the answer, as short, as simply said, is yes. I have always raised my eyebrow in certain situations. So while I was recording the lines of T'Lyn, that eyebrow, just like you see in the animation of T'Lyn, is very prominent.
Nice.
So yeah.
Awesome.
But curious definitely was added due to that. I don't necessarily go before everything though. That instant.
Okay.
Wait, can we see the eyebrow?
Yes, I have to get into it though. It's just
Okay,
like
yeah,
whenever
yeah.
so T'Lyn, like for some
Take your
reason I
time.
have to put my hands like this.
Yeah.
When I say the lines, and it's just like
Yeah, there
curious.
we go.
I concur. I don't know what it is. It's just like
So
I
awesome.
kind of like conduct myself through the lines.
Sure.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. No. Everybody has their own unique
Like,
ways of doing it.
But imagine, David, if they asked me to do a live, like, I don't know if I'm not going to be able to do this. Like, Vulcans don't do this. Big trouble.
Unless you're doing a sarcastic Vulcan salute, maybe.
Maybe just like tape my arms to my sides.
Cool. Thank you for answering my questions.
Oh,
and I
thank
think
you.
I guess we're passing it on to Paul.
Paul.
Okay.
Hi.
Miss Ruiz, welcome. It's great to have you here. I'm telling
Glad
you.
to be here. Thank you.
I mean, you are responsible for more instances of me, like, practically, falling off the couch in hysterics than anybody else on that show, just so you know. I mean,
Honor.
the deadpan is just nuts that you came up with. It's just nuts.
Thank
I think also I saw somewhere online you're responsible for like 100 million people looking up the word propinquity that no one had ever heard of that word. It's like 30 years no one had said propinquity until Lynn did. It's
I
just the
believe I
best.
nailed that in the studio. I can't
Yeah.
believe it. And
it was hilarious.
It's very it's very in the middle of a long sentence, if I can remember correctly. And
Yeah.
I fucking nailed it, guys.
No, you did. You
Thank
did.
you.
I know where time is not our friend, so I'm going to be quick in here and jump in with you, right? Because I want to ask you, like, how creating T'Lyn evolve? How'd you put your stamp on that, right? Because you come from like, live Broadway theater where you're getting immediate feedback and responsiveness
Yeah, you're right.
from your audience. You know how you did like right away, right? As opposed to waiting like a year and a half or whatever
Yep.
to find out how your performance is working, right? And I think what I'm curious about is as you're starting to develop this character, and I think that frankly, while T'Lyn's not the first Vulcan that we've seen, might be one of the best Vulcans that we've ever seen,
Yeah.
I would say.
Paul,
Yeah, I
you
mean, really just
Yep.
just legendary and
we
hilarious, and we got to just keep. If they ever do another live action crossover to Strange New Worlds, I
Yeah.
know NDAs being what they are, if they don't include T'Lyn, they're out of their minds. So would be my
I
take
really
on that.
appreciate it. Thank you for the ego boost tonight. I
Anytime,
appreciate it.
anytime. So tell us a little bit how'd you put your stamp on building this character? What was it
Wow.
like?
Well, to get the reaction is kind of also part of your question. Petrified to wait for the fans' reaction. Just so worried because I cared so much. Mike and the team cared so much. Mike really cares and really loved doing this show. My goodness. Not only is he talented, but he's just so caring, And okay, so the audition, my first initial audition was for Mariner. And it was I got one of the first callbacks, I think the first rounds, and you have to go and read the script. And it's the first time you actually know it's really Star Trek. I think Dawn has talked about this before. She didn't know it was Star Trek till the first table read. And so very protective over this, brand, like a lot of other voiceover animation shows are and games. And so it was so fast paced and quick. The notes that they were giving me were more like in an aggressive, louder way. And I was just kind of falling short. And I could feel it in my breathing. And I could feel like I was having this workout. Obviously, I'm not Mariner in the show. Tanya Newsom is perfect. I remember seeing the first few episodes because I'm already a fan of Star Trek. And I was like, I went in for this. How cool. Like they were all there. And so like, I love to just geek out on things I auditioned for genuinely and see the show and also learn who booked it, like how and what did it end up being, like what were they seeing and envisioning on paper and the full product. So I learned a lot on the pacing and the style and the musicality. I'm such a singer in that way, like, the ups and downs of everyone's arc of the episode and like the volume, the dynamics. And so when I auditioned for it again, I feel like it was for Castro. She's very thespian, fan of Riker, like that Riker thespian club, and she's such a snob. And so that was the first time I was able to work with Mike in the room as a hired actor. And we were able to build our relationship. T'Lyn auditioning comes in, and I'm like, oh my God, it's a Vulcan. Don't care too much, Gabrielle. Oh, so sometimes you care too much. And they gave us a reference scene of T'Pol on Vulcan, planet Vulcan, with her mom. And they have this big, like, shady back and forth argument that's super Vulcan. It's not emotional, but it's all shade, And they're just like cold shoulder, back and forth. And I remember relating that to a lot of Mariner and Captain Freeman relationship arguing, like the human version and then the Vulcan version. Same conflict. And I had the excuse me, I had the scene in the audition with her captain on Cheval. And I thought that was her father when I executed that scene for the audition. And I treated it that way because in the end he is a superior. And so this, what is it? Live long and prosper, sir. Like she does cross the line, and you do that with a parent, more than you would a captain, but it does get her kicked off. It works out for the scene. But I remember, Paul, putting down all the lines because we aren't running lines even for our auditions with the other lines of the other characters. It's just my lines for the audition. It's just like boom, 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 boom. And they're the ones that decipher between it. When it's sent over to casting and then creative or whatever. And I remember telling my husband, and it was like 10 o'clock at night. And I was like, it's not right. It's not right. I remember like thinking like, there's just like, how would Leonard Nimoy say it is so basic, but he created this world, this dynamic, this style that's not Android, it's not computer, it's still logical, but it has like that serious tone to it, but it has blood flowing in the veins still, you know? And so I remember just listening to him again and listening to all like some of the scenes of like TOS, and then I would just envision the T'Lyn line, Leonard Nimoy saying it, and then I would just repeat it. It's so, it's like I like went and just like prayed to the little like shrine of, you know, Spock to like, you know, all the Spock gods just come and like help me with these
Fantastic.
scenes.
You did
And
a mind meld, is what you
I did a
did.
mind melt in my closet in Los Angeles recording these lines, and that's when I knew like that was my best version. So with Wedge Dude, Mike and I and the team took a very long time with those scenes to establish the Vulcan comedy. And I feel like Vulcan's comedic in every single series. Like there's comedy in every series of Star Trek, but this really leans into comedy at its most. And we really took a long time, more than we have with any more other T'Lyn moments. And I think we did it right. I think we did it right all together. It was a team effort, definitely a team effort. A lot of care taken by Mike because, like I said, we were hoping that she would come back, but with good response. It had to be
I'm
right.
trying to remember the shtick you did when you were like, "Do you want to see Tuvok's quarters?" And what you were like, "Oh, are they austere?"
Are they austere? And like, you know, she gets kicked off for being, you know, over the line. And so there are some moments that's what's so funny about deadpan and the straight man of the show is like you can still the writing is so good that you can just keep it straight and keep it like as deadpan as possible and it's still funny. So there were a lot of takes of me recording the lines, and then when I finished my line I would giggle because like we were just laughing the whole time.
Well, you're a delight, and T'Lyn
Thank
will
you.
forever be a rebel, right? Thanks to you, and I hope
Vulcan as a
I hope we're not
motherfucker.
done with this character, right?
Oh,
I don't know to
we
what,
were just getting started.
you know, but you know, there's this whole Paramount Warner thing now, so everything, who knows what's going to happen?
Who knows? You're so right.
Anything is up for grabs.
Oh,
So
I
you know,
mean,
T'Lyn could get her own series for all we know, right?
you said it. Fly that plane across the studios for me, will you?
Let's
But
go.
you know,
Let's go.
I to be in the family of Star Trek is such a get because it's forever. And you guys tell me this. Tim Russ tells me this. Everyone tells me this. Like it's forever, and they kind of like, you know, Tim's like, but it's forever, and I'm like, I know, I'm ready. I'm so ready. So I'm enjoying every moment. You know,
it's like getting the vampire bite. There is no escape. You're in for life, friend.
and I have
Well, listen.
yeah,
Go ahead, please.
Well, I
Sorry.
just have to say lastly, like people that come to my booth, they're like, oh, I've never seen Lower Decks. Huh. Or my son, he doesn't care for Star Trek, but he saw your show and he loved it. And I was like, we're the gateway drug. That's what we are. We're the gateway drug to Star Trek. Welcome.
I mean,
come on
Moopsie.
over.
I mean, how
Excellent.
can you?
The first one's always free.
Yeah, that's
Right?
right.
That's how we operate. Yeah. Excellent. Well, listen, you're a delight, and
you.
wishing you the greatest success.
Oh, thank you so much.
Television, movies, everything. Hope you have just a phenomenal continuing, trajectory with this career that's out of control. So
out of control.
Absolutely love you. But I'll pass this back to Uncle Jim to wrap things up in his inimitable style. Uncle Jim, go for it.
Why, thank you so much, Paul. Nothing like putting the pressure on me. So I just wanted to ask, are you working on anything currently that you can share with us? Or?
Oh, I just shot this beautiful film in Guatemala, you guys. In this past November. It's based off of a priest who was one of the first American martyrs for the Catholic Church when he served in Guatemala. One of the most beautiful experiences I ever had. We got to shoot in the church that he served in Guatemala. It was so the presence of everyone's like love and the shrine and like all of it. We got to go to mass. I play a nun. And that will be released soon. And actually, I mean, we're recording this on March 2nd, but I want to just make sure I get it right. I just released the information on my Instagram. I am part of this, one of Audible's first musical audio books that's releasing this Thursday, March 5th. It's called Underdogs, a musical. Alan Cumming, BB Newirth, myself are casted in the in it. And one of the most fun experiences I did last year, and going to Audible Studios and recording it. A lot of voiceover work we don't record together, but a lot of those scenes we got to record in the room together. And I get to brag that I did all the tap sound for the show, for the musical portions. Like, there was like a big meeting kind of like this with the cast, and they said, if anybody tap dances, we'd like to keep it internal. I was like, efficient and professional, whatever you need. And that was super fun day in the studio tap dancing. So very proud of that. Everyone go take a listen. It's a really fun underdog story.
So I wanted to ask, you said that you don't keep up on Star Trek, but did you happen to catch the Strange New Worlds musical episode?
No, I didn't. Don't shoot me down. Don't tell Anthony Rapp I've never seen Rent either, okay? I'm one of those musical theater people. I know. Everyone clutch your pearls. It's true. I don't know what it is, but sometimes I miss it.
Well, you've got to check that one out.
I
think
will.
It's spectacular. So your kids must think you're really cool being a Vulcan on Star Trek, right? Like, are you the coolest?
I'm on Spidey and His Amazing Friends. It's a kids show. So luckily I can explain to them that I played Mama Rio on that show. And my daughter loves that show. But Vulcan, she's like, I don't understand what you're talking about. But she will one day. Because, like, I mean, when T'Lyn blossomed, and then my first convention experience was the cruise, you guys. Okay. Vivian, my now 2-year-old, was like 6 weeks old. Like, I just had a baby. And I was like, I'm going on that cruise. We're going to figure this out. And so we luckily did. Everybody was healthy for me to leave enough. And I had, not my first time at this rodeo. So I was able to go. And what was my point? I don't know what my point was. I don't know. What was my point? This is mom brain for you.
Musical,
if your
cruise.
kids love you as a Vulcan.
Oh, yes. V, thank you. So I feel like when they get a little older, they'll come to the convention and then they'll think it's cool. And then when they're tweens or teenagers, they're going to hate it. And then bring them back around later. Once they leave a while, then they'll like it again. Because again, don't forget, Star Trek is forever.
Yes. And you want them to be a little bit older before they start saying Vulcan is a motherfucker, right?
Yes, probably.
Because they're 5 and 2?
Probably.
Is that right?
Yeah, and like start from the top. Like, let's start with TOS and then introduce Lower Decks last.
That's
right. We're not even last anymore. We're like second to last now when it comes to like order of creation. So I look forward to that because my mom did that for us. And then when Philip and I got married, he wanted to start Star Trek from the beginning. So like I was able to start from the very beginning. So I look forward to doing that with my kids.
Well, I don't know where you are on the East Coast, but I'm on the East Coast. If you ever need a babysitter, I promise I will. We'll watch the animated series. Yeah,
it's very generous.
Well, I'm on the East Coast too. I'm up in Vermont, freezing. It's snowing right now, so that's cool. Well, unless there's any other questions, guys, any last-minute questions?
No, just thank you again so much for being here with us. Yeah.
My
I
pleasure.
can say that we're all fans of
I know what I was going to say. I think I met your...
Yes. Yes, you did. Yep. Oh, she had a wonderful time. She geeked out and had such a wonderful time. Gates was very kind to her. She's a huge fan of Gates McFadden. So like she was wonderful. Well, thank you for having me, you all. Always live long and prosper. Have a wonderful night.
See you later.
It was such a joy to talk to you guys. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
All right, good night.
Good night.
Cheers.
All right, guys, so that's it. We're going to be talking on Thursday. Actually, we're doing 2 shows this week. So Thursday we'll be talking about what is it? Cozine, I think, is the episode of Starfleet Academy. And as usual, I'm your most excellent host, Uncle Jim. And I want to say thank you so much to Dee for hanging out and talking with us tonight. Thank you. And thank you so much to Eric for hanging out and talking with us tonight. Thank you, Eric.
Absolutely. That was a special interview. She was great.
And thank you to Paul as well. Thank you, Paul.
My pleasure. Wonderful guest.
And Charles, thank you for hanging out with us as well.
Oh, always fun, and fun when we find out actors are Trekkies too.
That is always a good point. Thank you, David, as well.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Thanks, guys.
And of course, thank you to Gabrielle Ruiz for hanging out and talking with us. And with that, I want to say to everybody, please stay safe and be good to each other. Hailing frequencies are closed. David, roll the tape.
Live long and prosper.
Ahead, warp 1. Warp 1, sir.
Heading, sir?
What there? That way.
And